how many other structures like this have we walked past? How many other structures are there yet to be found? How many other things have we missed in our ongoing daily efforts to try to solve this?
The most shocking truth about Oak Island may not be what has been discovered, but what was never meant to be found. For more than 2 centuries, the island has been treated as a mysterious treasure site, filled with gold, clues, and collapsed tunnels. But according to insiders connected to Season 13, everything may be about to change in a way no one expected. The money pit may never have been a vault at all. Instead, it could be a warning. A carefully designed deception meant to pull searchers in, mislead every excavation, and punish anyone who got too close to what is truly hidden beneath Oak Island. And for 229 years, that deception worked. 6 lives were lost, fortunes were drained, and countless excavations ended in floods, collapses, and failure. Every attempt seemed to lead people further away from the truth, until now. This time, Rick Lagina isn't just chasing clues. He may be standing on the edge of something that finally explains why the island has resisted discovery for generations. What the team is approaching doesn't just challenge history, it could completely rewrite it. If you enjoy deep dives into mysteries like this, remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more discoveries. Recently, a sealed chamber was reportedly found beneath Oak Island's shoreline, and incredibly, it was completely dry inside. Timber recovered from the structure has been carbon dated to the 1300s, over 150 years before Columbus reached the Americas. If this is accurate, it changes everything we thought we knew about the money pit. The flood tunnels may not have been built to protect treasure at all, but to guard something deeper, something hidden beneath the shoreline itself. As Rick Lagina and the team move closer, new evidence is reshaping their entire understanding. What was once believed to be a simple booby trap now appears to be a highly advanced system, built with precision and intelligence far beyond what was thought possible for that time period. If the origin of the flood tunnels can be traced, it might finally lead to what they've been searching for all along. X marks the spot, but nothing on Oak Island has ever been that simple. During the filming of what sources call the episode Billion Dollar Clues, Gary Drayton was scanning the shoreline when his detector picked up a signal unlike anything he had ever encountered. It was deep, heavy, and resonant, and beneath it seemed to be an impossible void. An empty space where solid ground should have been. When excavation began, the team hit timber, but this was no ordinary wood. The sound echoed hollow, like striking a buried drum. It felt artificial, deliberate. At the edge of the dig, Rick Lagina stood still. After 13 seasons of searching, failures, and financial risk, he knew this was different. This wasn't another false lead. This was real, and it had been built with purpose. Then came the moment every Oak Island excavation fears: a breach. Everyone expected the worst: rushing seawater, collapsing shafts, total destruction, the same outcome that had ended every attempt for over 2 centuries. But this time, nothing happened. No flood, no collapse, just silence. Then a smell rose from the opening, ancient wood mixed with stale earth, the scent of a space untouched for centuries. Inside the chamber, the walls told their own story, carved by hand using tools long lost to history. These weren't marks made in hours, but over long periods, evidence of craftsmanship from another age. As Rick and Marty Lagina stood there, the realization began to sink in. This wasn't just a chamber. It was part of a system, a protected structure hidden beneath the shoreline, designed to keep something concealed at any cost. And the deeper they looked, the more dangerous the truth became. Suddenly, everything changed. An operator, already moving equipment near the site, quickly reversed controls as the ground beneath began to give way. The machine barely stopped in time, just feet from dropping into a hidden void. 1 second longer, and both the machine and operator could have been lost. Chaos broke out instantly. Workers scattered as the ground shifted unpredictably. Nearby, Billy Gerhardt felt the instability beneath his equipment. He didn't hesitate. He shut down the engine and got out immediately. closer to the edge, Jack Begley heard a deep, grinding roar, like stone tearing apart underground. He grabbed a nearby crew member and pulled them back just seconds before the collapse spread further. A massive cloud of dust shot into the sky, visible even from the causeway. Then came silence. Not the normal kind, but the kind that follows disaster. The kind where everyone stops and silently checks who is still standing. From a distance, it might look like entertainment, danger packaged for television. But on the ground, there is nothing entertaining about it. For Rick, Marty, Gary, and the entire crew, every excavation carries real risk. One wrong move can lead to collapse, injury, or worse. Gary Drayton felt the vibration from nearly 200 yards away. Seeing the dust rise, he immediately ran towards the collapse zone, leaving his equipment behind. At the same time, Rick Lagina was already moving, not away from the danger, but toward it, calling out names, making sure everyone was safe. Marty intercepted him at the barricade, placing a hand on his chest and assuring him that everyone was accounted for. Rick didn't respond right away. He just stood there, gripping the railing, staring into the dust, breathing heavily. Soon after, the entire operation was shut down. Authorities issued stop work orders, declaring the money pit area unstable and unsafe. For days, Oak Island fell silent. But beneath the surface, something even more dangerous was happening. The island itself was beginning to give way. Layers of limestone and gypsum, slowly dissolving over thousands of years, were now collapsing faster, accelerated by repeated drilling and excavation. And whatever lies beneath Oak Island may be closer than ever, but also more dangerous than anyone imagined. Every shaft, borehole, and excavation was putting more strain on the system. At a depth of 100 feet, a collapse doesn't stay contained. It spreads. It destabilizes nearby tunnels, floods hidden voids, destroys valuable data, and wipes out months of work in seconds. Above it all sits heavy, waterlogged earth, with ocean pressure pushing against timber supports that have already been weakened by centuries of decay. At this point, a catastrophic breach wasn't just a possibility. It was becoming inevitable. But then something unexpected happened, something that may have changed everything. As the collapse zone widened, it revealed a layer of debris that had never been seen or documented before. From deep within the wreckage, the team recovered new timber samples. This wood didn't match anything from known searcher activity in the 1800s. Instead, it showed clear hand-carved markings consistent with medieval craftsmanship. The collapse hadn't just destroyed ground. It may have opened something that had been sealed for over 600 years. If the dating is accurate, it suggests human activity on Oak Island between 1350 and 1400 AD, centuries before the money pit was discovered in 1795. This wasn't from the pirate era or colonial times. This points to the medieval period, long before recorded history says anyone should have been there. Some researchers have linked early activity in North America to Norse explorers around 1000 AD. But this evidence suggests something very different. Not a temporary visit, but a planned, engineered operation. A coordinated effort involving tools, skill, and clear intent. Among the recovered items were excavation tools resembling those used in medieval France and Scotland. These weren't crude or improvised. They were purpose-built tools designed for structured underground work. Rick Lagina reportedly held one of the recovered timber pieces in silence. The tool marks were still visible, clean, precise, and deliberate. "This isn't searcher debris," he said quietly. "This is original. This came from the builders." The room fell silent, because in that moment, a theory that had long been dismissed suddenly became much harder to ignore. Maybe Oak Island was never about treasure at all. Maybe it was about protection, a hidden repository, a sealed vault, or a secure underground system built to safeguard something of great importance. Documents, relics, or artifacts lost to history. This is where the Knights Templar theory comes back into focus. For years, it has been debated and often dismissed, but now there may be physical evidence that's becoming increasingly difficult to explain away. The Knights Templar, weren't just warriors. They were highly skilled builders, engineers, and architects responsible for constructing cathedrals, fortresses, and complex systems that still stand today. When their order was dissolved in 1312, their wealth, knowledge, and secrets seemed to disappear. Where they went has been debated for centuries. Some historians believe their treasures were seized and scattered across Europe. Others suggest something more deliberate, that members of the order anticipated persecution and secretly moved their most valuable possessions to a location no king, army, or authority would ever think to search. A place completely outside the known world of that time. Suddenly, the flood tunnels begin to make sense. A system designed to work with ocean tides isn't accidental. It requires advanced understanding of hydraulics, pressure, and geology, knowledge developed over generations. And a disciplined, highly trained order like the Templars would have had exactly that expertise. In the war room, Marty Lagina sat quietly, studying the lab report. The carbon dating results were clear. Wood recovered from beneath the shoreline predates Columbus by more than 150 years. There was no sign of modern contamination or later interference. Finally, he broke the silence. "This isn't a treasure hunt anymore," Marty said, sliding the report across the table. "This is an archaeological site, and the numbers don't lie. But Oak Island has never been just about evidence. It carries something else too. The legend of a curse. The belief that 7 people must die before the island reveals its secrets. 6 have already lost their lives searching. And according to those present, this latest season came closer than ever to becoming the 7th. The collapse wasn't just a setback. It was a near disaster that changed everything. A massive machine came within seconds of falling into a hidden void. Workers felt the ground give way beneath their feet. One wrong step, one moment too slow, and it could have ended in tragedy. After the evacuation, Rick Lagina stood by the perimeter fence for nearly 20 minutes. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He just watched as the dust slowly settled over the money pit, like a curtain falling on something unfinished. When someone finally confirmed that everyone was safe, Rick simply nodded. He didn't leave. That night, the atmosphere in the war room was unlike anything seen in 13 seasons. There was no celebration, no relief, just exhaustion. Rick sat at the head of the table, still covered in dirt. Marty sat across from him, the carbon dating report turned face down, already read, already understood. Craig Tester leaned forward, rubbing his temples, surrounded by maps, notes, and untouched coffee. On the wall, monitors replayed the collapse over and over again, a frozen moment of dust erupting from the ground, hanging there like a warning that wouldn't fade. Gary Drayton sat quietly near the door. No jokes, no stories, just silence. The man who first detected the signal now sat staring at the floor, as if realizing how close they had come to losing everything. Finally, Rick spoke. "We found what we came here to find," he said softly. "And we almost didn't make it out." No one responded, not because they disagreed, but because there was nothing left to say. 13 years of searching were sitting in that room. The chamber, the medieval wood, the carbon dating results that could change history, and the memory of a collapse that nearly erased it all in seconds. Every person there had paid a price for Oak Island. Time, money, family, safety. Everything had been sacrificed along the way. And now, one question weighed heavier than ever. Was what they had found worth what it almost cost? Craig finally broke the silence. Pulling the shoreline map closer, he pointed to the chamber's location and said, "We go back, but not the same way." Rick studied the map, glanced at Marty, and nodded. Because what they had uncovered was no longer just a mystery. It was a system, a structure, a buried piece of history that refused to stay hidden. And now there was only one way forward. Not careful digging or slow excavation, but something far more aggressive. A full-scale open dig. An exposed approach that could finally uncover everything buried beneath the island. After 13 seasons filled with collapses, failures, and close calls, the most dangerous option no longer felt reckless. It felt necessary. It felt inevitable. But according to those close to the project, what Season 13 truly reveals is far more important than treasure. This season was never really about gold. It marked a turning point, a moment when the search stopped being a treasure hunt and became something entirely different. The discovery of the shoreline chamber, the medieval timber, and carbon dating placing it in the 1300s, none of it points to buried riches. Instead, it points to a piece of history that was never recorded. A hidden chapter of human activity, deliberately erased from time. Suddenly, the mystery is no longer just about digging down. It becomes something broader, a connected system stretching between the swamp, the shoreline, and the money pit. All of it linked in ways no one had predicted. The builders weren't hiding a simple chest of treasure. They were constructing an underground stronghold, a sealed system designed not just to hide something, but to protect it for centuries. Whatever it is, it must have been so valuable, or so dangerous, that it justified crossing an ocean and building one of the most complex hidden structures ever imagined. The money pit itself now appears to have been a trap, not a destination, but a deliberate misdirection. A system designed to fail anyone who tried to dig straight down. Flooded tunnels, collapsing shafts, lost fortunes, and even lost lives, all steering searchers away from the truth. Because the real vault may never have been beneath the money pit at all. It was hidden off to the side, beneath the shoreline, protected from time, tides, and more than 200 years of failed attempts. Standing near the chamber as the sun set over Oak Island, Gary Drayton reportedly summed it up perfectly. For 200 years, they had been digging in the wrong place. But that realization only raises a bigger question. It's no longer about where the treasure is. It's about why it was hidden in the first place. What was so important that medieval builders crossed an ocean to conceal it? And why create a system so complex that it has already cost 6 lives? Because this was never just about gold. What began as a search for buried treasure has evolved into something much deeper. Something historical, and possibly far more unsettling. The sealed chamber, the medieval timber, and the carbon dating all point to something older than the legend of the money pit itself. A hidden layer of history that was never meant to be found. With that, the entire theory changes. The search is no longer vertical. It becomes interconnected. A buried network linking the swamp, shoreline, and money pit, suggesting a carefully planned design rather than random digging sites. What once seemed like separate areas now appears to be part of one unified system. Not a simple treasure pit, but a complex underground structure built with precision and purpose. And the implications are staggering. The money pit may never have been the goal. It may have been the distraction, a carefully engineered failure point designed to mislead anyone who searched in the wrong way. Flooding tunnels, sudden collapses, unstable ground, lost equipment, and lost lives, all guiding searchers further from the truth. Because the real structure was never directly below. It was offset, hidden beneath the shoreline, sealed off and protected by a system that has remained intact for centuries. As daylight faded near the chamber, Gary Drayton reportedly put it simply. After 200 years, they had been digging in the wrong place. But that statement leads to an even bigger mystery. If this was all intentional, then the real question isn't where the chamber is, it's why it exists at all. What was so significant that it required such an advanced system to protect it for centuries? And who had the knowledge and resources to build something that still confuses modern engineers? Season 13 reportedly brought the team closer to those answers than ever before in 229 years. But it also revealed something far more unsettling. The deeper they go, the more unstable the island becomes. The ground shifts without warning. Excavation zones collapse unexpectedly. Heavy equipment comes dangerously close to falling into unseen voids beneath the surface. It almost feels as if the island itself is resisting, reacting to being uncovered. For the first time, Even experienced investigators are beginning to realize that Oak Island may not just be a mystery to solve. It might be a system still actively protecting whatever lies beneath. And then there's the legend. 7 must die before the island gives up its secrets. 6 have already been lost. The 7th hasn't happened yet. But the legend was never about if, only when. As season 13 comes to a close, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The closer they get to the center of the island, the more it seems to push back. As if something beneath the shoreline isn't waiting to be discovered, but determined to remain hidden. This season brought them closer than anyone has ever been. The finale reveals just how close they came, and what it nearly cost them. Because on Oak Island, the 7th death hasn't happened yet, but the curse may still be waiting. So now the question is yours. What do you think is hidden inside the chamber? Ancient treasure, sacred relics, or something no one has even imagined? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe to the Timeful channel and hit like for more mysteries like this.